Mm. A good long bath always does wonders to cool my temper after a particularly strenuous day. Ah, and I see you've woken, pet. Excellent. I might have asked you to join me as I bathed, but I didn't wish to rouse you. You always look so perfectly serene when you slumber. Your little chest, rising and falling, ever so slightly. What wild dreams make their way into that little head of yours while you sleep, I wonder? I think I can imagine. My apologies for returning to our bedchamber at such a late hour. I hope I didn't give you cause to worry. Today's proceedings unfortunately dragged on an excessively long time. But they're finished at last, and your emperor is ready to join you for bedtime. Go on, move over a little, and make room for me. Good, pet. Here, allow me to reward my pet's obedience with a little kiss on the forehead. Yes, let me wrap my arms around you and draw you in. Just like that. Cuddling you is such a pleasure. I've been yearning for this feeling all day. You simply can't imagine how torturous it was for me today. Having to sit on the throne, wrapped up in all that stuffy finery, and suffer through hour upon hour of tedious diplomatic roundtables, when I wanted nothing more to slip into this silk clothing and slink back to my chambers, into these velvet sheets, with my favorite pet's loving embrace. Alas, all of us have our responsibilities to attend to, your emperor most of all. Oh, I appreciate your polite concern in the details of my day, pet, but don't fret over it. It's none of your concern. The details of all the complicated statecraft and negotiation would only bore you. You'd never be able to wrap your little mind around such intricate matters anyway. And besides, the business of my court is often quite serious. I fear it would be too much for a soft, sensitive little thing like you to hear about. Oh, no. Don't look so disappointed. How can I say no to that little pout and those irresistibly cute puppy eyes? Very well. If you're truly so curious, I'll indulge you. Today's meetings were between myself and a certain high lord from the east. This lord has been quite vocal in his belief that the crown's new slate of taxes on naval imports are very unjust, and he's come to the imperial court to demand concessions. If I don't submit to those demands, he's threatened the blockade of our eastern ports. He mistakenly believes that his possession of a few godforsaken spits of barren rock and a decrepit castle or two gives him adequate leverage to demand anything of me. I only wish that I could be in attendance when the royal fleet encircles all his pathetic, worm-eaten little ships like a great iron fist and smashes them all to splinters in a hail of cannon fire. Like most nobles, he's a very proud man. He wore the most infuriatingly arrogant little smirk during our negotiations this morning, as though he really believed he had the upper hand. It would be nothing short of a privilege to be present and see that smirk melt into cold despair as he watches his livelihood burn and sink into the harbor. And it dawns on him, far too late, that he should not have tempted the wrath of his emperor. In my mind, I can already hear those wails, those shrill pleas for mercy and clemency. Delectable. Proud nobles never stay proud to the end. Did you know that, pet? That's something I've been taught quite well by all the poor fools I've had to bend and break over the course of my tenure as the Emperor. Sure, they put up a nice facade of bravery, but like all the rest, they're soft and squishy and vulnerable on the inside once you crack them open. Even the proudest ones fall to their knees and whimper and beg like animals once they see the Reaper's sickle on the horizon. I prefer the honest ones, and honest pets too. Pets who forego the delusion of pride from the start. Good pets like you, who know their place, and don't try in vain to puff themselves up to seem big and strong and brave, when in reality they're small and weak and cowardly. Oh no, I'm sorry, pet. I can see by that wetness in your pretty eyes and your quivering lip that I'm only frightening you with my passion, my ferocity. Oh, I told you all that serious talk would be too much for you to handle. I'm sorry I scared you. Here, no more of that. Just nestle into my arms. Let me run my fingers through your hair and soothe you. You may cry if you're feeling too overwhelmed. I don't mind. I've grown quite fond of your soft heart, and how easily you're moved to tears when you're scared or confused. You need not be embarrassed. It's quite endearing how tender you are. Let us change the subject to my favorite little subject. Tell me about your day. What was my darling pet up to while their master was away, I wonder? Nothing naughty, I hope. Oh, no. Don't worry. Shh. I was only being playful. I know you're much too loyal and well-behaved to do anything I wouldn't approve of. You're a good pet. Isn't that right? Of course you are. That's why your emperor loves you. If only all the rebellious little worms spoiling my big, beautiful world could be as soft and pliable as you. Maybe my crown wouldn't be quite so heavy a weight to bear sometimes. But having you around to be affectionate with in the late hours of the day makes dealing with all of that rabble each morning so much easier. There. Nuzzle into my neck. I know you would never betray me. It's true that you aren't a product of one of those fancy academies that spawned all these worthless lords and ladies who clutter at my court. But nonetheless, you, somehow, know one thing that they truly never learned. You know that all you have, your food, and your bed, and your clothes, and your life, you owe to your emperor's generosity. And you see, likewise, that all that he has given you, he can strip away just as easily. Isn't that right? I do so enjoy that mewling whine in your voice when you say yes, Emperor, as though you're frightened you'll upset me and earn a punishment if you don't agree with me meekly enough. So keen to be submissive, but how could you be any other way? I raised you up from nothing, after all, didn't I? Plucked you from the gutter and put the most delectable foods in your mouth, draped the most luxurious clothes around your shoulders, lavished on you my warmest affections. You'd have to be the most ungrateful sort of creature to be anything but perfectly servile when speaking to the man who handed you the world on a silver platter. How fortunate for us both that you're a good pet instead. I can feel your heart beating fast through your chest. It always quickens its pace when we lie together, doesn't it? It's admittedly flattering. The effect my teasing words and being close to me clearly has on you. You're so completely, unashamedly in love with me. It's adorable. Here, you may place your hand on my chest. I want you to feel something. Do you feel the beating of my heart? You ought to feel it distinctly. I'm hardly wearing much beneath my silk. In fact, I'm not wearing anything beneath it. There's that shy look again. Did you not realize that a little measure of thin silk was all that separated our bodies? No, don't take your hand away. When I give you permission to touch me, you need not be reluctant. If it helps, remember that being affectionate with me is as much a duty as it is a privilege, and I need not remind you what I expect when I order you to do your duty. Speaking of your duties and privileges, I've been meaning to commend you on your progress with our little kissing lessons. You were so inexperienced to start off, but you're becoming quite a natural. And I don't need to tell you that that's high praise coming from someone with lips as discerning as my own. Tonight, I'd like to continue your instruction and teach you a new trick. Do you recall that when I kissed you for the first time, I made use of my tongue in a certain way? I'd like for us to do that again. Only this time, it'll be your tongue doing the honors. No need to speak. I can tell you're nervous. I told you, none of your little fits and fidgets escape your emperor's notice, didn't I? It's quite all right. I know very well how prone to anxiety my good pet is. Don't fret. You're safe, as long as you listen and obey. Let me guide you. Here, I'll cup your cheek. Do you like the feeling of my warm hand on your face? It's fresh from my bath and ever so soft, I know. If you inhale, you can still smell the lavender. Let me bring your head up, tilt it a little to the side, and exquisite. I've been hungering for your lips pressed against mine all day. Another. Perfect. I almost can't bear to part from that warm, inviting mouth of yours. But I'd hardly be a very good teacher if I skipped over the crux of the lesson. Now, allow me to demonstrate the proper technique. Did you feel how my tongue snaked in past your parted teeth and met your own? Did you feel me press my way into your mouth and take claim over what's mine? Everything in this world is about power, you know, one way or another. Even matters of the bedroom. Especially matters of the bedroom, if we're being perfectly honest. But one of the more enjoyable aspects of wielding great power is allowing those beneath you to play at wielding it as well, even if it's only play. So, you have my permission, pet. I will kiss you again, and when I do just as I did. Excellent. You're as quick a learner with kissing as you are with everything else. Color me impressed. But my star pupil isn't finished yet. Practice makes perfect, as they say. You're awfully eager with that tongue. I love it. Don't be afraid to be a little more forceful. I promise you won't offend me. Think of me as a fearsome lion playing with a poor, helpless lost lamb. Though my prey might put up a pitiful fight in my mouth, nothing you do can ever truly threaten me. When my little lamb plays aggressive, it merely makes devouring them all the more amusing. Good pet. For a sweet, frail little lamb, you do have more than a bit of vigor in you after all. And I love the way you stroke my hips just now. Your touch is still clumsy and unpracticed, but nevertheless, those eager fingers feel divine caressing my skin like that. How did a rough little beast like you come to possess such soft fingers? I think I can find one or two other excellent uses for them. But perhaps another night. One lesson at a time. That was perfect. I need a break. I don't want to spoil my enjoyment by gorging myself on this delicious meal we're sharing together too quickly. I only hope my good pet enjoyed their lesson as much as their emperor did. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that, pet. Your honeyed words make even a mighty lion feel a little tender inside. Here, come pressing close to me. Let me cradle you. Good pet. You're doing ever so well in your new role. I hope you realize that. I can hardly believe it was only a short while ago that you were just another unremarkable gutter rat. And now, look at you, my prized pet. You've come so far, though you still have a long way to go. Our little lesson has whet my thirst. Would you like a drink as well? I saved a little something for us to share. Let me ring for one of my servant boys. You there, boy. There's an ice box in the foyer. Bring me the bottle inside and a pair of glasses. Quickly now. What are you gawking at? I gave you an instruction, boy. Are you new? Do you not know where the foyer is? Oh, you're looking at my bedmate. Don't lie to your emperor. You were looking at them. If you'd like to keep your position, I'd advise you to stop looking at them like that. They are my companion, and they're thus none of your concern. Do I make myself clear? Excellent. Apology accepted, darling, but don't make me wait any longer. Good boy. You're dismissed. You'll love this wine. I had it brought up from the cellars just for us. Let me sit up for a moment and pour you a glass. There we go. A generous serving for my favorite plaything, as a reward for scoring such brilliant marks in their lesson today. Oh, the servant boy. Don't mind him. He must be new and unacclimated to my usual standards of decorum. I hope him staring at you in this state didn't upset you, sweet pet. I know how sensitive you are. Perhaps you're too shy to bear the thought of a stranger seeing us entangled in one another's arms. Adorable. Oh, could you really not tell? Your inexperience continues to amuse. That was interest he was looking at you with. My servant boys are expressly forbidden from entertaining amorous relationships because of certain incidents in the past. As a result, most of them are sadly more than a bit lonely, and I don't often invite non-aristocratic company. So when he saw you there, lying in my arms, freshly washed and dressed in that dashing silk and cast in flattering candlelight, I suppose you seemed a little enticing to him. My, this wine is so rich. I've already nearly finished my glass. No shame in having another, I suppose. Though, I hope you didn't feel anything untoward about him. Sure, he was young and lithe and pretty. All my servant boys are. But you're mine. And an emperor doesn't share his toys with servants any more than a lion shares his prey with jackals. Why, if I caught you slinking off with one of those little rats without my permission, you'd regret ever... But we need not worry about that. You wouldn't have a dalliance with some servant and risk displeasing your emperor. You're my good pet. I know that sort of crass disloyalty is the furthest thing from your mind. I'll have to personally express my thanks to the vineyard keeper. This wine is nothing short of sublime. And besides, even if you had a real connection with one of those boys, perhaps if I were in an extraordinarily generous mood, something could be arranged. I'd have to be present for the tryst, of course. That's absolutely essential. I wouldn't permit that sort of thing without my involvement, but... what am I saying? Forgive me. The wine has gone straight to my head. Ignore my drunken rambling. I don't know what wild place my wandering tongue has dragged me off to. I do know where that wandering tongue belongs, though. Here, let me serve you a little wine. I don't mean to hoard it all for myself. No. Put your hand back on my hip. You know very well you're not to hold it yourself. You're so clumsy you'd probably only spill it all over your clothes and humiliate yourself. And we wouldn't want that. I'll hold your glass for you. Sit up and let me raise it to your lips. There. Drink your fill. Let it warm your tired nerves. Finished? Would you like me to let you drink another glass? No? Alright. This night has been splendidly refreshing. I almost hate to rest so soon, but unfortunately, imperial business awaits in the morning, and I require proper sleep. But another day will bring another night. We'll have plenty of time to spend with each other in the coming weeks. There are so many wonderful things I have in store for you, pet, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. For now, just rest. Nuzzle into me. Fall asleep in my arms. You are my perfect, loyal pet. Dream of me.